You're about to see the best Android smartwatches for 2018. These are my selections of the ones that I wear often and the ones that I really recommend picking up. But before we do that, check this out. I just got it in. This is the fancy OnePlus 6T. You've heard about this phone? It's the one with a fingerprint sensor built right into the glass screen itself. Did you see that? Look at this. I can even do it with my thumb because I programmed my thumb to do it. Double tap to turn things off, tap to turn it on. I could play with this all day long. It's an awesome Android phone, and it's got this Oxygen OS overlay thing, which isn't too heavy, but lets you do great things. Like if I want to pull down the menu, I can double tap here. I programmed that. I'm pretty cool. I can come back here and look at all my apps that I have running, or launch one of them if I want to. I can double tap here and go into here, and I got Cortana and Google, and I mean, there's just so much going on. It's an awesome phone. Check it out. If you're interested, look in the show notes. I've got a buying link for this thing and $20 off. I wish I could have gotten that. Anyway, it's great. I'm going to be hopefully using this to film future shows too. The camera is incredible, and it's got a night mode built into it. I think is as good, if not better, than the new one that Google is putting on their Pixel phones. Wow. All right, on with the show. Greetings, and welcome to Smartwatch Tips 2018 Smartwatch Holiday Buyer's Guide for the category you've all been waiting for, Android smartwatches. Yes. Oh man, I've been trying to do this all year long, and I'm constantly hounded. What's the best Android watch for under $120? Under $100? Under $80? Under $60? Are you kidding me? We aren't under 60 yet. Maybe some out there, the older ones. But anyway, we're going to go into my picks as the best watches, Android watches for 2018 that you can pick up right now. And I highly suggest you do. Now, before we begin in this category, I want to remind you there are the fancy Android Wear type watches out there. And Android Wear uses Wear OS for Google, which is a whole different operating system than pure Android for these watches. Yeah, it's up to you if you like that. There's much fewer apps, but they're more dedicated to the watch environment. If you want to run any Android apps, more or less, that you do on your phone on a watch, then this is the category for you. There's also other things like Tizen operating system that's in the Galaxy Watch from Samsung, the new one, or the older ones, the S3 Classic Frontier, all those. We're not looking at those. They're not in this category. This is restricted to pure Android watches, and the top two watches, in my estimation, just came out, and you're looking at them right here. This is Limfo's LEM8, and it is a doozy of a watch. Why has this become one of the most popular watches? You're looking at it right there, right now. Same thing with this one, the IQI i8. Whoa! You see how the full screen, the watch face, of which you can change them simply by pressing and holding and switching in any direction to get another one. The watch face itself shows brilliantly on the screen, but when you turn it off, it doesn't go black, it goes back to an ambient mode watch face. And folks, that has pushed me over the edge for all the other Android watches out there. You know, when I wear a watch, come on. When I wear a watch, what do I want to do? Most of the time, 90% of the time, my watch on my arm, I'm glancing at it to see what time it is. That's what I want to know. That's what I use it for. I don't care if it's a fitness band or whatever. If I can't see the watch because it's too dim outside or it's black when I turn it and I got to twist it and wait for it to give me a different display, I'm not happy. I like to have an always-on watch. So these hit the top mark for me for that one reason. And right now, as of right now, they're the only two on the market. I hear more are coming. I don't have them here to show you, so they're not in the contingent for the top watches for 2018. But both of these are, and both of these are almost identical. There's little nuances difference, and I want to cover those for you because for me it's a tie. For you, one might push over the other. We've done a comparison video. Look at that for more deep details, but I would like to tell you that the LEM8, this one, has 2 gigabytes of RAM in it as opposed to 1 gigabyte of RAM in the iQII i8, and as you can see, it sits flat. It's charged with a dock that it sits in as opposed to a charging wire. This one sits this way. I thought it would be an issue when I wear them and that I would really like this one better. And I got to tell you, in all honesty, when I put it on, if I put it on so it's loose enough for me and not too tight to sweat and constrict my arm, it tends to fly around and slip around easy. It's like really hard to get it just right. And even then, when I twist my arm, sometimes it's like over here and I can't quite see the time. A little frustrating because it actually is too pliable. This is contoured to my arm. Now, if your arm is about average size guy arm size, and you put this thing on and you tighten it up, you find it's not going to slip very far because the stiffness kind of keeps it in place. Didn't talk about that in the other reviews because I didn't know until I really gave it a try. So between these two, I like this one better for the fit. I like this one better because the ambient mode screen is brighter. And I don't know if that just happens to be this model or that's this line of watches in production, but it is brighter in ambient mode than it is in the LEM8. I like this one better for the memory that's in it. And I go back and forth on the bezel design, which one I like better, and which one looks like it's got the better overall screen. This one looks a little larger, not as much black around it. This one's got more black, looks a little smaller. Anyway, now we're getting into subtle stuff. They both do 4G communications, kinda. I've got a SIM in, which one? This one, I think, right now. My AT&T SIM is in there, showing 4G connectivity with a couple of bars. I get basic data rate, really, 3G level. I'm not getting 4G, screaming Mimi kind of stuff. I don't think I could stream YouTube reliably without it hiccuping somewhat, but it does have the 4G capability built into it. And it works in both of these. So the top of the pack, as far as Android watches go for me, would be either the iQII i8 or the Lemfo LEM8. But those aren't the only ones out there. I still love the rest of my children. Let me introduce you to the family. Coming in at my second most often worn watches are these two. The first ones you saw, I'm going back and forth with those, and almost daily I'm wearing one of them. I really love that always on capability with the time display. These don't have that, but they do have really big screens. If you like square, rectangular, or you like round, they'll fit the bill, and they're both from Lemfo. Lemfo's making a great showing with exotic, wild, and different smartwatches in all different categories. Really, really happy with them. This is the LEM4 Pro, and look at this puppy. It's got like double width screen, really. Of the ones that are square, it's twice as wide. And it's got everything. It's got all of your apps and everything, and we're not going to get into all of that because we got reviews of them. Just want you to see the basic watch and what it looks like. When it goes off, it's black, as you can see. This one, the LEM-X, wow. This is a wild, wild watch. It's got a very big screen. Yeah, inches and measurements and specs are all in the other reviews. A big screen, definitely a big watch. Let's put them both on so you get a feel for it. This has got a pretty flexible band like we just showed you in the LEM-8. You can't believe how hard it is to keep all of these in my mind. I dream about them. When I put it on, though, it doesn't slide all around, because the darn thing is so big. Look at that. This is a man-sized watch. It really is. And it holds on really nice if I snug it up. Not too tight, not too loose, just right. It has a little bit of play, but it's not getting lost around the edge of my arm. I can easily see it. Has the twist to brighten the screen technique so that you can light it up so you can see the time. But unfortunately, when it's off, it's dark. You don't have any time there. If they bring that new technology to this watch in 2019, we're going to have quite a winner in the large watch category. Same if that would happen in the rectangular watch. And this one, likewise, very, very flexible, removable bands. You can actually make this a pocket watch. The LEM4 we're looking at, LEMX here, those of you who are keeping a sheet tally on this. This one, likewise, when you put it on, it's going to stay in place. It's not going to roll all over. And it actually looks really good because the layout is along the line of your arm. If you have an average size or larger arm, it's going to integrate well. I actually think it looks smaller than this one does. Interesting, huh? Interesting optical illusion effect. Anyway, these are the next category I would recommend and say these are great watches. They're available out there right now. The Lemfo LEM4 Pro, right? And the LEMX, also from Lemfo. But wait, there's more! Now, up until about 2 to 3 weeks ago, if I would have done this review, I would have declared that these two watches are my absolute favorites and the best ones on the market. It's the Thor Pro and the Baike i3. Why would I say that? Again, because of the screen technology. I love screens you can see outdoors, and both of these watches have a special kind of transflective screen that when it gets bright in sunlight, you see that? You can actually read the time. The colors go away, but the screen is readable. So are the images from the side camera on both of these. You could take outdoor pictures and actually see on the screen in the sunlight what the picture is going to look like. Great Android watches, and really similar. And so they come in now in a little bit further down behind, but depending on what you like in a smartwatch, they very well could be just what you're looking for. Why aren't these rated the highest when I can actually have the watch face I select be always on and be the screen that is shown in the daylight or the dark? Well, two things. There's always a backlight lit, and so it does have a shorter battery life even when you put it on the lowest setting. If you set it up for always on, by the way, you have to install a secondary app to do that. You can't turn it longer than 30 minutes on in the settings as the watches come. But if you bypass that with a third-party app, you can create it so it'll always be on and always viewable outdoors, but it does eat away at the battery. You don't get extensive long life. But the real reason, and you won't find this unless you actually get them and wear them, that it's a problem for me with these watches is when I have them on, the screens are always sensitive. And inevitably, I am running into things or touching them somehow, so that usually I'm ending up in this mode when I glance at my watch. Or maybe it's slid over to another whole watch face altogether, and I don't actually get the time. That's not the real time. That's a placeholder. I have to touch it, and then I get the real time. So even though it has the always on or always viewable type of screen, indoor or outdoor, the fact that the screen can't be locked, that whenever you touch it, it can go into odds and ends places, it just makes it a real pain. If it had the kind of a screen that would be able to be locked, like the first ones we showed you in ambient mode, the screen is locked and the only way to get it to activate is to press the button or twist your wrist to see the time. But these, you run the risk of it always going into a different mode. And for me, unfortunately, it makes it impractical most of the time, even though I love the outdoor viewing. So it's dropped down, not my number one pick, not my number two pick, but pretty much the third one that I'll wear when I'm going out if I want to have a watch that's going to show the screen whether, I'm indoors or outdoors. All right. We have got a last category I wanted to show you, and these are the really top-of-the-line Android smartwatches that have, you ready for it? Front-facing cameras. Yes. Hello, that's actually me here somewhere. There I am. Okay, peeking over at you through front-facing cameras. The Z-Blaze Thor S is this one. And it's a really sweet camera. Very nice, very functional. The camera's right there. A smartwatch. And got lots of capabilities to it. I would rate it as the #1 smartwatch with a front-facing camera. Look at the bezel. Got all sorts of indicators on there. Back buttons, call buttons, power button, everything. And then this one is kind of a ladies model. It's a little bit different size. Hi. It's the ZGPAX S216. Oh my goodness, now you can see me reading my notes, can't you? You thought I had it all memorized. I do most of the time. Anyway, this one's got kind of a plain bezel. There's the camera right there. Both excellent watches, got reviews on both of them, and they come into a category that's kind of trailing behind, but for some of you who are into selfies or video conferencing, it may be your watch of choice. So check these out, the Z-Blaze Thor S and the ZGPAX S216. Yep, you're right. Those are not the only watches with front-facing cameras on them. They were the round watches that have those kind of cameras. And they tend to be typical on square watches, which brings in this new category. What are the recommended square watches? Well, we've already looked at the Limfo LEM4. And that it's got a great camera on it, and it's got the aspect ratio you love, right? Almost like a phone. So if you're going to do front-facing selfie kind of stuff in landscape mode on your arm, this is a great one to have. Vertical, you could do it, but you got to kind of twist your arm or take it out and take the bands off and make it a pocket watch. Really nice for its camera capability. But there's more. We also have this puppy. This is the DM 2018. That's its name and number. And one of the cool features about this one is the camera is 8 megapixel. I mean, you get great details. So if you take pictures or videos with it, you're going to have a really good time. It's got a small screen set in a very large bezel, which doesn't make it onto my really loving list unless, you really like big fancy things like this with silver all over. I mean, people are going to see you've got a watch on. But the screen itself is a little bit on the smaller side compared to some of the others. When you come back into time, looks like that. Nice watch overall, and it's one I'd recommend because of that camera, but it's pretty thick, pretty bulky, pretty heavy, but it's got a really cool curved screen. Anyway, the DM 2018. And then, of course, there's the Finau Q1 Pro, the follow-on to the original Finau Q1. This one has been around for a while. It's really nice still. Removable bands, I believe, on this one. Definitely TPU kind of bands. Good camera on it. And overall, good screen. One of the fun things about it is the button's on the wrong side. When you wear it, it's on the left. But there is a process you can go in here and you can actually change it so that you can wear it this way and it won't be upside down. However, the camera will be at the bottom and your buttons, your sensitive buttons will be at the top. So it's a little odd as well. Anyway, these are the 3 in 2018 that I'm suggesting are the ones you'd like to consider if you're looking at smartwatches of the square variety. So that's the rundown of my picks of the 2018 Smartwatch Holiday Buyer's Guide for Android standalone smartwatches. And an honorable mention to Kingwear. They've just come out with the brand new Kingwear KW88 Pro. Now, why is this making the honorable mention list? Because it's been the most popular smartwatch ever, the original KW88. We have almost 500,000 views of that original review, more than any other watch. It's been a great seller, and it's finally been updated. Unfortunately, it's not quite up to par with the ones we just showed you. There's no ambient screen that goes on automatically. There's no screen that when you take it outdoors is going to get brighter. It's running Android 7, not the latest 7.1.1, but it's a beautiful watch. So for those of you, not chasing specs, but looking for something really attractive, really fun. This is their new sports version. They have it in gold and silver and black. the KW88 Pro. It's a beautiful, beautiful smartwatch. Highly recommend it if you want a really good basic watch that does everything you need, but not a lot more. All right. You've been watching Smartwatch Tics, so now if you're really confused, you can get unconfused by looking at the spreadsheet I have on all these smartwatches at this address, tinyurl.com/AndroidWatches. That takes you into a folder. There's a lot of good things there, like recommended apps you can put on Android watches, and this spreadsheet that shows all of the Android watches currently available for purchase with a variety of categories that you can compare them to. Removable bands, waterproof, the size, diameter, thickness, what operating system, a whole bunch of stuff. As you zero in on your choice, that spreadsheet may help you out. So how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Android watches open a whole new world of possibilities to you, and there's a whole new world of possibilities on the web. If you want to go deep with all this stuff, you can head over to the roundandroidwatches.proboards.com, shortcut tinyurl.com/watch support, okay? Similar to our Android watches, same prefix. And you can get into this Round Android Smartwatches community. It's free to come in and roam around. If you want to ask questions and participate, you need to create an account, but that's easy to do and it's all free. Learn about flashing firmware to update your watches. Learn about different launchers. The launcher's the thing that happens when you turn your watch on, how you get around looking at your apps and stuff. There's different launchers out there to play with. There's a whole bunch of smartwatches custom designed, and you can learn how to make your own. You can check out some of those custom designs at tinyurl.com, Round Android Watches, and I think even Square Android Watches is out there now as well. So lots and lots of possibilities for you. Primarily though, you want to make sure you're picking out the watch of your dreams for 2018 from our Smartwatch Holiday Buyer's Guide. For Android watches, in the show notes down below this video will be links to the reviews of each of the watches featured here. In those reviews, in their show notes, will be the buying links that you can go over and buy that particular watch. So whichever one you're interested in, check out the full review, and it really helps us out if you use the links that we provide you to pick them up for a discounted price. Thanks for watching, and have a great holiday season. We'll see you again soon. This is the LEM8. It's a flagship 4G in certain areas connectivity smartwatch running Android 7.1.1 with all sorts of goodies in it, including something new to show you. In addition to tethering to your watch to get notifications and a full app drawer, when you go into settings and check out display, you'll notice something new, always time. When that's turned on, your screen will never go black. It will go to a little time display giving you analog time. It's an ambient mode for the pure Android watch. In addition to all of this, down below, you have all of your step count information, including weekly charts, and you have your full complement of standard apps that come with Android watches. You have a 2-megapixel camera on the side, Google Maps, location services, and GPS. It's the LEM8. Check it out. This is the flagship IQI i8 smartwatch. This is an amazing Android 7.1.1 device with all your typical widgets installed, notifications when tethered to your phone, a full app drawer with all the typical apps available to you, as well as a fitness section that you can do different workouts. It also supports the brand new ambient mode, always on analog black and white time display that whenever you turn the watch off will appear if you select that in settings. Check it out. It's the latest entry from IQI, the new i8. It's back, and it's improved. Hey, would you dance a little jig if you found out that one of the fanciest, best Android smartwatches has been updated to Android 5.1, has been enhanced with 1 gigabyte of onboard RAM, has 16 gigabytes of storage for movies and apps and sounds and whatever you like, has a full portfolio of incredible apps, including the one on the screen right now that you didn't even know about, and is available right now. Again, it's the LEM4 Pro. Check it out. It's well worth a look. This is new technology at its finest. New screen size, 2.03 inches. New layout, removable bands, IP67 waterproof. What is it? The LEM-X. Pop some bubbles on that one. The first time we've seen Android 7.1.1 that gives you all kinds of new capabilities. You've got the app drawer. You've got all of your standard information, including weather, music, and cleanup. And like we're talking about, this fancy new type of watch faces that allow you to use live wallpaper in the background. Fitness is on board for your step count, distance traveled, calories burned, and all sorts of stuff in the stock apps that come with it. Check this out, a whole different way of displaying them, like on the Apple. Boom! Yep. Lots of new features. 8 megapixel camera on this one, true 8 megapixel. Definitely something to check. It's called the LEM-X, available right now. This is the largest screened Android smartwatch on the market, the Z-Blaze Thor Pro. It's a full Android 5.1 smartwatch with all the capabilities we've become used to, as well as a good solid speaker inside, which provides nice solid sound. You also have an app drawer full of your standard apps, including Bluetooth calling for tethering to your phone, and more. All that with a built-in music player to support tunes you put on the 16 gigabyte storage, and you've got yourself one really nice watch. The Z-Blaze Thor Pro, 1.53 inch, high quality, 320 by 320 screen, 1 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, standalone and tethering, dual mode, Android smartwatch. Check it out. This is the i3. It's a full Android smartwatch running Android 5.1 with 16 gigabytes of storage and a 1.54 inch extra large screen, color, and under direct sunlight, still readable even though it more or less switches to black and white. You can see it indoors or outdoors, making this one of the top Android watches available now. When you scroll down, you have the standard Android 5.1 layout of information. When you swipe over here, you get notifications. Over here, your apps, and then your music player. And of course, if you swipe up, you're going to get weather. As far as installed apps, you have the standard complement plus Bluetooth calling. That's the new addition in Android 5.1 watches that lets you tether to your phone to make phone calls. You have all the other stuff you're used to, calendars, clocks, a camera on the side that, yes, you can see it outdoors when you're taking pictures, sound recorders, file managers, and more. All the Google software's available as well. Really nice watch. Again, it's the i3 with the outdoor viewable screen. Check it out. Are you ready? After all this time, a ladies' Android smartwatch with front-facing camera, edge-to-edge screen, Android 5.1 technology doing all the standard things we've come to expect from these watches, including notifications, a full app drawer, and built-in Bluetooth calling. Like I mentioned, there's a front-facing camera on this one that allows you, if you want to do video chatting or any kind of recording of video right on your arm. It's a sweet little watch. It's the ZGPA X216. Check it out. This watch is known as the DM 2018. It's an upgrade of the X11, and it is awesome. Not only does it have an 8-megapixel camera built into it, and a whole set of fitness where you have GPS actually working with things like running and walking and cycling, but you also have the apps, which include the camera and a bunch of stock apps with the ability to add more in here. It is a full feature-rich watch, lots of options available to you, and your basic health, fitness, heart rate, blood pressure, and a digital compass as well. Again, it's the DM 2018, available now from Banggood. Check it out. It's here. This is the FiNow Q1 Pro Android 6 smartwatch, with a pull-down menu that lets you access all of these goodies, including SOS, cleaning out all of your open apps, and more. You have access to an app drawer where you can use SIM technology for making calls and sending text messages or doing data at up to 4G capability, depending on the country you live in and the frequencies supported. You have a front-facing camera that you can take pictures, videos, or do chats and other types of video calls. Settings, file manager, a new implementation of Bluetooth, gotta check this one out, that lets you tether to your phone in unique ways, but not yet able to do Bluetooth calling. It's coming though. Step counter, heart rate, and blood pressure available on this watch. Music, Google Chrome, the Google Play Store, WhatsApp, a browser, downloads, a voice recorder, your calendar stopwatch, your standard Google Voice search, and any apps you install will show up in here. It's the FiNow Q1 Pro, available right now. Check it out. Are you ready? It is finally here, the KW88 Pro. The most popular design in an Android smartwatch is now bumped up to Android 7.0 with 1 gigabyte of memory, with 16 gigabytes of storage, and all the typical stuff we've come to know in the Android 7 operating system, with notifications when you're tethered to your phone and a complete app drawer, including a camera on the side that lets you take pictures at 2 megapixels, sound recorders, heart rate monitors, maps, and everything else. It's the Kingware KW88 Pro. Check it out.